right, you guys ready to start the show?
So back when the CDs came in those big, long, unnecessary, you know, terrible for the environment boxes, I got home, I had asked Jacob Heyman, who lived down the street from me, and we used to play basketball together, and I had a big crush on him, but he didn't like me like that. But he got me Nirvana. So I am ripping open the paper, so excited, and it was Bleach. So it was Nirvana's Bleach. He got Nirvana's Bleach for a 13-year-old girl who asked for Nirvana's Nevermind in 1992. So my immediate reaction, of course, was to go to Coconuts at the mall to do a little swibbity swap, because I needed the naked baby with the dollar, and I needed lithium, and I would need lithium later, but different way. So I'm in Coconuts, and I'm holding Bleach, and I don't know if you guys remember the record cover. It's like black and white, and Kurt's hair's everywhere, and which is actually kind of prophetic. But and I'm holding it, and I'm thinking, like, you know what? Maybe I should keep this. Like, I'm seeing the future. You know, it was my Magic 8 Ball, my musical Magic 8 Ball, and I'm gonna listen to this record. This record is gonna change my life, and I'm gonna drop all my dumb friends that shop at Gap Kids and play field hockey, and I'm gonna stop playing field hockey, and I'm not gonna play flute anymore, and I'm gonna play bass, and I'm gonna start a band, and I'm gonna go to high school, and I'm gonna wear tights with rips in it on purpose, and Doc Martens, and I'm gonna be friends with people whose sexual preference is unclear, but I'm gonna support their choices, and then I'm gonna start a zine, and I'm gonna have a band and a zine, and they might be synergized, they might not, and then I'm gonna go to college, and I'm gonna start a magazine, and then I'm gonna work at Jezebel, which didn't exist yet, but I knew my whole thing. So I'm standing in the middle of Coconuts and saw my future self, but unfortunately, that's not what happened, because instead of trading Bleach for Nirvana's Nevermind, I traded it for Mariah Carey's Butterfly. So I was quickly jarred back into reality, and that's not the path that I took. But for the next 8 years, 10 years, like any really wholesome, good Midwestern teenage girl, I got into rap and hip hop and did that in high school. And then when I went to college, I discovered Phish and started following them around the country, and I stopped shaving, and I made my clothes, and I walked around barefoot on campus and went to bars barefoot, and before Britney Spears did it. And it was totally a bad scene. It was just bad. But there were a couple, I looked cute, but it was bad. So as I graduated college, I was looking for a job and moved back to Cleveland with my parents. And the only thing that was kind of music related in the vicinity of my parents' house was Alternative Press magazine. So I applied for an internship, and I dressed what I thought was like chic and alternative, even though I was used to patchwork pants and like tunics and terrible secondhand things, and I fooled them because they hired me. But then I showed up in my real clothes the first day, and someone walked past my desk and said, "I think that's a hacky sack that just fell out of your pants." And from then on, it was a little bit of a struggle, because I was still listening to Phish, but I had my foot in the alternative door, and the 2 albums in college that managed to get through all the string cheese incidents and Moe's and Big Woos and Rat Dogs were Television's Marquee Moon, Don't Ask Me, and Elliott Smith, EXO. So Elliott kind of haunted me, as I'm sure he haunted a lot of people as they discovered him. And as I worked at Alternative Press in the very beginning, I was an intern, then I was an office manager. I took care of a cat that was 27 years old and had no concept of its bodily function, so I would get in early and have to clean up after the cat, and then I would try to pitch stories to the editors. And after the 14th jam band expose that they turned down, I saw in the magazine that they had written, okay, you guys promise not to make fun. So they had written about this band called Dashboard Confessional, and they had compared it to Elliott Smith, completely wrongly so. You couldn't get opposite. But I loved Elliott, and so I thought, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see what it's like. I went to the Beachland Ballroom in Cleveland, which if there are band people here, I'm sure you've played it before. It's the Armenian Social Center, and you walk in and it's like a high school auditorium, and then there are pictures of Armenian people doing arts and crafts and like eating at picnic tables, and everybody plays there. It's kind of a rite of passage, but it's a really weird place to see a band. So I brought my friend Liz with me, and we get there a little bit late, and we're like kind of rushing in, and we open the door, and I swear to you, out of nowhere, I walk in, and this huge like teenage chorus of fans are singing. I don't even see Dashboard anywhere, mostly because he's really small and I couldn't see him over everyone's heads. I saw a little baby Pomp. Kind of like jumping up and down. But I have this like such a vivid vision of this girl that was over here. It's funny that you're wearing a striped scarf, because she looked like a French Navy member with like a bright red lip and black eyes and black and white striped shirt, and she was singing, her eyes were closed, and she's like full body, like aerobic karaoke, but she wasn't lip syncing, she was actually singing his parts. And I was so touched and taken by what was going on. It felt so real and genuine and gave me goosebumps and gave me butterflies, and it made me appreciate where I was and where I wanted to go. And from there, I came back to the magazine and pitched them this band that I had heard of and seen, and that wasn't known for 20-minute guitar solos, and they were open enough to listen, or at least they wanted to shut me up. So they were like, write about it, just go away. And that was the first big piece I wrote for the magazine, and from there it just kind of escalated, and I wrote a book about emo, and it changed my life. So the Dashboard Confessional record, Places You've Come to Fear the Most, by discovering Chris Carrabba's voice, I was able to find my own. And